and welcome to Inner Circle Guidance. Today we're going to be doing a collective reading, but for those of you who are new to the circle, hello and welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I post new videos every single day, and if you're looking for daily short tarot readings, check out my Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or YouTube Shorts. If you're looking for personal services or personal readings, I offer them through my website, innercircleguidance.com. Let's find out what the circle needs to know today. We have the Eight of Swords, Queen of Cups, Ten of Wands, Three of Pentacles, and the World. We have the Lovers on the bottom of the deck here. It's interesting how this Eight of Swords came out in yesterday's reading, and it's coming up again. But this time we have the Queen of Cups on the table, which is all about emotion. And the Queen of Cups comes before the King. And so the Queen is somebody who their emotions still tend to get the best of them at certain times. This is also somebody who may either take their emotions as facts or may listen to their emotions too much, to the point where their emotions are controlling them instead of being able to make decisions that are based in emotion, but doing that in a healthy way. And I'm seeing that it's creating unnecessary burden, but we are at the Ten of Wands, which means that the cycle's almost over. We also have the World here, which indicates that some major life chapter is closing out and a new one is beginning. But with the Lovers on the table and the Three of Pentacles, I'm seeing that largely we're still allowing emotion to rule our decisions when it comes to relationships, and potentially when it comes to work as well, and partnerships and work, and the way that we communicate our ideas or move forward and make decisions when it comes to our work. So let's get a couple more cards here. We have the King of Swords. We have the Ace of Cups. Interesting, King of Cups. Four of Pentacles. And we have the Four of Swords. Interesting, with the Nine of Swords on the bottom of the deck here. With the King of Swords and the King of Cups on the table, I'm getting that you're being asked to learn how to balance and master your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions and your mind, and learning how to balance those two so that they're ruling equally instead of falling out of balance. Now, it's interesting because the Suit of Swords is specifically about your thoughts, your mindset, and the way that you communicate those thoughts. And the Suit of Swords energy is very much, I would say, out of all of the suits, the Suit of Swords is often the most feared. Mostly because the Suit of Swords often comes as warnings. There's a lot more cards in the Suit of Swords that can fall into a negative polarity. And I think it's due to the Suit of Swords complexity. And so it's interesting because people often think that the Suit of Swords is just thoughts, communication, and your mindset. But what you have to realize is that your mindset and your thoughts are often controlled by your emotions or driven by your emotions. And your emotions can shape your mindset in ways that are so subconscious that sometimes you don't even realize where it's coming from. Sometimes you don't even realize that your mindset is being driven by a certain emotion. And so I guess what's dangerous about the Suit of Swords and what the complexity of it is and why it's so difficult sometimes to figure out exactly what the root of the problem is in the Suit of Swords is that you can end up thinking yourself into a completely different mindset based off of your emotions and things that are the hidden drivers of those mindsets and thoughts. Your own mind can become a prison. Your own mind can be an enemy in the camp. Your own mind can be the snake in the grass that ends up sabotaging everything. And so having that self-awareness and learning how to harness your emotions, how to understand them, and how to work through them instead of just suppressing them is extremely important to your manifestation. And in order to reach your Ace of Cups, which is overflow of happiness and abundance and fulfillment, you have to be able to understand those two dualities and be able to balance them so that you aren't holding on to negative mindsets or allowing negative emotions to drive your decisions and keeping you trapped in one place. So you're being asked to really reflect, because I'm seeing here that there's a lot of situations with this Nine of Swords where you're allowing your emotions to make you feel like things are worse than they actually are. You're allowing your fear to drive your decisions, your anxieties, your worries, your lack of confidence, your lack of self-worth, your fear for the future. You are allowing those things to subconsciously drive certain decisions that you're making. And what you have to remember is that your emotions are not facts. Now, they can be based in certain facts, but emotions themselves are not always factual, and oftentimes they'll lead you astray. And ironically, the person that I first heard talk about this in a way that I think was the most efficient and the most easy to understand is RuPaul. So RuPaul's a Scorpio, side note, and he wrote several books that have to do with how to be confident, how to be yourself, those types of things. But he often discusses, and this is something that if any of you have ever watched his show, you hear him say your inner saboteur. Just like we have light and dark within us, we have light and dark thoughts, light and dark emotions, positive and negative. He describes this as your inner saboteur. So there's your higher self and what he calls your inner saboteur. And your inner saboteur is the negative polarity and the negative side of you. And he talks about how your inner saboteur tries to fight for dominance. But the thing about your inner saboteur is it's often fed by ego, and it's fed by emotions that are not based in fact. And so he says very often that your negative saboteur may have all the creativity that you do, all the power that you do, all the influence that you do. It literally has all the same power and traits that your higher self does. But it uses it for the wrong reasons. And it'll often trick you into thinking that you are less worthy than you are, or less confident than you are, or that your value is not what it actually is. And it's because the negative saboteur, in order to gain dominance over your higher self, you have to feed it. You have to nurture that energy. And so you do that by giving that negative energy to the saboteur, in which case it begins to gain power and your higher self's voice gets quieter and quieter, and you start hearing your inner saboteur. This gets down to also the idea of, are you actually listening to your intuition, or are you listening to your inner saboteur? Are you listening to your intuition, or have you lost yourself in the sense that you haven't given yourself time to process things? You haven't fully worked on things. You haven't given yourself that time to process, that time to sit in the energy and really clear out the muck. Is it that it's your intuition, or is it that it's something else? Is it that you're making decisions that are in line with your higher self and manifestations, or are you not? Are you making decisions based out of fear, out of worry, out of anxiety? Are you allowing that to hold you back? Do you have negative mindsets about yourself that are deep-seated, that are driving certain decisions you're making? You're really being asked to figure out if you have that enemy in your camp, and if they've gained any sort of traction, if they've gained any sort of influence. And this may be hidden in places that you're not expecting. I'd say this is one of the most important lessons that you're going to learn. And you're being asked right now to figure out where the enemy in your camp is hiding. Because according to this reading, there's still some sort of imbalance somewhere that you need to work on. And part of that is tapping into those emotions and feeling those uncomfortable feelings and figuring out where they're coming from. And a little tip here, the way that you can tell the difference between your intuition and straight out fantasy is that fantasy will never make you feel uncomfortable. Your intuition will often make you feel a little uncomfortable, because in order to fulfill your soul purpose, you are meant to ascend and tackle things that you didn't in the past. You're meant to learn new lessons, learn new skills, and go out and accomplish things that you haven't in your past lives. And so with that being said, oftentimes your intuition feels a little strange. Your intuition is often not rational, in the sense that you may know that you want to, say, be a business owner, but you're working a 9 to 5, and suddenly you keep getting this urge that you need to quit your job and focus only on your business. But maybe you feel like if you do that, you're going to lose your stability. Logically, it doesn't necessarily make sense, right? Because logically you think, I have to have a job to pay my bills. But sometimes the universe wants you to take leaps of faith and wants you to listen to your intuition, because it's going to align you. It's going to force you to align into that life that you know that you want and you are meant to live. And this is where in the past I've talked about getting caught up in your logic and not allowing your blessings and your miracles to come in because it's not logical, and not listening to that inner urge that's driving you, that inner voice that's whispering, hey, maybe you need to take this path today. Maybe you need to be 5 minutes late for work. Maybe you need to call up that friend that you haven't talked to in 2 years. Those weird urges that you can't quite explain are often your intuition. And so the reason why this is going to be the hardest test for you is because oftentimes we think that our opponents are the most dangerous opponent, are the people who are in our outside world who maybe have more power or have more creativity or whatever than we do. But the truth is that actually the most dangerous opponent and the most worthy opponent is yourself. Because yourself, your saboteur, remember what RuPaul had said, has all the same creativity, all the same knowledge. It's literally you, but the darkest aspects of yourself that you have to overcome. You are fighting somebody who knows all your tricks, knows all your deepest desires and fantasies, all your deepest wounds and traumas. They know everything. That's why your inner saboteur is the most dangerous opponent, because you know yourself better than anybody else. And that being said, you allow your saboteur to jump in the driver's seat, and you're going to start driving further and further away from that 10 of Pentacles energy that we've been talking about you manifesting. Because your inner saboteur doesn't live in that abundance energy. It doesn't thrive there. That's not where its energy comes from. It comes from the negative. So you need to reflect and figure out where that enemy in your camp is. Where is that snake in the grass? You need to balance your two energies, and you need to make sure that you're not cutting off your emotions. You're working through them. You're allowing yourself to feel those emotions and let them come and go, but you're not allowing your emotions to control all your decision making. And that can be very tricky, because oftentimes your inner saboteur will make you feel happy about something, but it's often when it's feeding your ego or things like that. So you really need to get to the root of where the emotion is coming from, because that's going to be your indication of which emotion and which side is dominant in that area of your life. And I'm seeing too that for a lot of you, your inner saboteur is very, very sneaky and very, very much dominant in the areas of your relationships, and for some of you, the area of your career. So focus on those two areas, but make sure you're also looking at your life as a whole with this. And so your affirmation for this reading is, I am overcoming my inner saboteur. I am balancing out my emotions and my logic. I am balancing out my feelings and emotions with the way I communicate. with the way that I think about things and myself, with my thoughts. I am not letting my negative emotions secretly drive my decisions. And so if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to like this video. And as always, may your life be full of light, full of love, abundance, and gratitude. I'll see you next time.